Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more. 'Cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's barre and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too. And many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice pianist string from right within her home. She's in such big condition, she'll outrun the metronome. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. They're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yet controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression. So remember, you take part at your own risk and your discretion. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Anita if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, then you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far.
Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Elena's Bar and the Resurgence of Sanity. How are you doing, guys?
Doing good. I got my Bluetooth earpiece working. It wouldn't connect. I went down and put it in the refrigerator for 30 seconds, which cuts off all signal. Then I bring it back, and man, it works again.
Wow. I saw some guys are keeping batteries in the fridge.
That's a different thing.
That's a different thing? Okay. This shows you
nothing to do with the temperature. It's just a Faraday cage.
Okay.
The signal can't get there.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, anyway, guys, today we have a very controversial topic. And based on the reaction that we received in the past week, I would say, we are on the right track. You know, what we've noticed, somebody really doesn't want male authority and biblical patriarchy to prevail. And yeah, they are using all tactics to ruin the people who are promoting this. And they don't want this narrative to be out there, okay? And today we will look into a couple of examples and then a couple of videos about women and their fantasies based on the book by Nancy Friday, My Secret Garden, that was published in 1973. And it got a lot of traction. There are a lot of people talking about this book. And I just was talking to Steve before we started this live stream. And, 1970 is when there was sexual revolution, right? Well, shortly before, then the hormonal birth control. And then abortion was legalized in 1973 too. So when you look at all of this surrounding facts that happened, and then you look at this book, and there are so many people who are praising this book because they say that, well, it allowed women to express themselves freely. It was a very safe place for women to fantasize, not necessarily about their husband, but about other men as well, and male dominance. And, I look at this and then I think that women only are supposed to fantasize about their men, their husbands, the men that they are with. But then there was a lot of justification in terms of why women fantasize. It's because they are lacking something in real life. And yeah, I can show you the video. We will get into this one shortly. You
I
know,
think you got to stop the train,
yeah,
back it into the station. Before we leave, we need to give some context. And let me do it because I'll be more brief and
yeah.
concise
Do you?
than you.
Mm-hmm.
About a week ago, well, Elena likes to stir up things on Twitter. She can't help it. So she made a statement, women need spanking. That's the topic today. What happened? Well, some funded human combination bot sites decided to attack her over that. And then the human in charge of all these bots decided to go for reputation destruction. Oh, I'm shocked. A woman would try and destroy the reputation of another woman as a means of war because she didn't like what was said. Oh, yes. So what was Elena accused of? Oh, she was accused of being a corn star.
Yeah. With fabricated evidence, by the way.
That kind of riled up Elena. We did our stream at the Resurgence of Sanity. We talked about this on last Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Or this past Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Actually went through how it was done, what was going on. But now we're going to address this same topic. So Elena says, okay, I'm getting flack about this. It's time to double down and let's go into this. Because, does it have to be a threat? Women need spanking. Can't it just be a hilarious statement? Can't it just be a reflection of
no, Steve,
where we're at in society? Oh no. And then they have to exaggerate this claim into what is a woman's favorite word when accusing someone else?
Abuse. She's promoting.
Oh yes.
Abuse. She's promoting violence against women. Wow.
Yeah, come on. Let's not exaggerate.
But it's so exaggerated, and they marginalize it, and then they start calling you names, and it works. It works on a lot of people. A lot of people blocked me. A lot of people reported me. Because
no, it's not exaggerated. It's targeted. See, they don't think of. Okay. There what was it recently that was making the headlines? Morning Glory Milking Farm, right? Or we could talk about 50 Shades of Grey, right? And in 50 Shades of Grey is some pretty abusive behavior on the part of the man. Okay, it is.
Get more involved, more dramatic, more exaggerated than a simple spanking a woman or slapping her on her ass. It's not a big deal compared. The stuff in 50 Shades was way beyond that.
Or even
compared to it.
Even compared to the fantasies that women shared with Nancy Friday.
No. You guys, we're still not over the target yet, and this is the key point that's going to run through the rest of the stream. I'm tired today, so I'm just going to come out and say it. It's abuse when you are using it as a form of discipline because she did something she wasn't supposed to do. Okay, that's it. See,
Yes.
there you go.
And why? There's consequences for her actions. No, there should be no consequences on women.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's held accountable for what she does. Oh, no, women should not be held accountable for anything they do. Therefore, discipline is bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are essentially against male authority, male dominance, and men imposing any discipline and restraint on them.
Because they don't want to be accountable.
Correct. This account's problem was not with the idea of women getting spanked. It was against the idea that women should be spanked as a form of restraint on their behavior. Okay. I have no doubt that if you were to sit down and calmly query this account, that you would find out that okay, we're after 10 minutes, that the kinky form of spanking is not only acceptable, it would be praised, because while this account claims to be Christian and claims to be, anti-feminist, everything that flowed out of its digital orifices was rampant feminism. So
There's a catch to that. Yes, if it was just a desire and a kink, just floating out there with a random woman, oh yes, it would be praised. But when you're against a specific woman, then you can use that as an accusation to say she has kinky desires, therefore don't listen to anything else she says.
Oh, this is kind of what
of course, yes.
Yeah, what they
So
did.
it can, the same fact can be praised by women and criticized by women, depending on the context and what their motive is.
Well, they even said that, look, if I, and it's their words, okay, if I admit that I have a kink, then they wouldn't bother with attacking me.
So let me define what kink and fetish is.
Mm-hmm.
A fetish. Okay, let's talk about the one that comes up to mind. A foot fetish. That's just weird. And a fetish is something that's kind of required and kind of out of the ordinary, and it's a necessity, a necessary thing for sexual arousal. A kink, okay, it's just like, well, everybody has their preferences. No two people are the same. If you've been married, you know what? The husband has his preference for sexual positions. The wife has her preference. Could you call their preference for position a kink? Well, maybe. It's like, but who cares? It's not my business what you do in your bedroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they don't want to be restrained, and this is the problem. Yeah, like Plutarch said, they don't mind sexual spanking, maybe like BDSM style stuff. And
No. You don't even have to go that far. You don't even have to go that far.
if it's on your terms.
No. Well, no. If their terms are not that, like most women would prefer it not be on their terms. There's a rash of videos that run around on YouTube and TikTok of guys. It's they walk past their woman and they smack her on the ass, and then she's all happy about it, and then they walk, and then another scene that he walks past, smacks her on the ass, okay, and the video will show it 3 or 4 times, and then one time, and she's all happy, right, and then one time he doesn't do it, and then she's all sad and she starts packing, because he doesn't love her anymore, and so she has to leave. And then as she's packing. He walks by and smacks her on the ass again, and everything's great. Women like it. And that's part of what this trend. This is a trend of video. It just floats past on my YouTube stream. Women like it. They like it so much that they make videos threatening to leave if you don't do it. Okay, that's that sort of more play. I would call it more playful, right? It's not that's not the non-disciplinary kind, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's another thing here. Too many Christian men spend all their efforts trying to keep their wife appeased and calm. And oh yeah, man, did she get upset when I did blah blah blah? So you know what? Now I have to make it up for her. They're always trying to calm her down because they're the nice guy. Women need emotional variability. And if you're always trying to calm her down and keep her calm, you are boring.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and don't be a boring man. Are you boring if you walk by her and smack her on the ass and then smile? No, that was stimulating. You're not boring. Okay, well, don't bore the woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's look at the statistics, okay? Here, it's Google summarized data. You can go read the studies. I actually did read them sometime last week. And, okay, how many women are fantasizing about being dominated by men? So here, studies suggest.
You gotta
Zoom
pull
it.
that up.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Zoom. How do I zoom it? Darling, I don't know.
Control, scroll.
Scroll. Okay. Oh yes. Thank you, Steve. Okay. Here, studies suggest that approximately 30 to 60% of women fantasize about being dominated by men, according to research cited by the Washington Post and Business Insider. This includes fantasies involving being tied up, spanked, or forced to have sex, which are common and exist on an erotic aversive spectrum, says a study from the National Institute of Health.
Oh, does this mean that 30 to 60% of women want to be abused?
Yeah, well, according to the feminists, yeah.
No, it doesn't.
No, I mean,
no woman wants to be abused.
I know, right? But if they go after me, they should go after those women who, who want that stuff too. Yeah.
No, because they're innocent women.
I know, right?
You are a bad woman because you're advocating male dominance.
I know, right? The fact that women enjoy it has nothing to do with it. Yeah, research indicates that up to 62% of women have had a grape fantasy. 62, more than 50%, guys. Do you see this? More than 50%, 62% of women have a grape fantasy. Fantasize involving forced sexual activity, which for many is considered an erotic rather than purely aversive experience.
Can I say something? I left out a word here.
Oh, which
we
one?
We don't know. Admit. Up to 62% of women admit to having had this fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
There's some that probably have had this fantasy and won't admit it. Now, okay, this kind of fantasy, it's not uncommon. It's not aberrant. It's not what you think it is. If it's her fantasy, she is in control of her fantasy. And it's being unaccountable for what happens, even though she wants it to happen in her mind. This is just in the fantasy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She wants it to happen, but she doesn't want to take responsibility for making it happen or accepting it or furthering it. So it just happens and she can enjoy it. But in her fantasy, if it goes too far, obviously she's in control. She's not going to fantasize about something she doesn't want. So it's these fantasies, the woman is actually in control of
Mm-hmm.
what she's imagining.
No, I think she's in control. She could be imagining all of the heinous stuff, but um even where she gives up her control in her fantasy to the man.
No,
Right, but
I think the morning glory milking farm phenomenon is all you guys really need to know about this. Okay. What Steve is saying by in control means is that it's simply she has generated this fantasy. It is her creation. She lives in it. Okay.
mm-hmm.
And the morning glory thing was of just terribly written slop. It had all the proper genuflections to the woke left of consent theater. Actually, consent theater is a good way to describe it. Okay.
Sure.
And
she's a star of her own show.
Yeah,
In her
exactly.
fantasy.
The point here is just very simple. Okay. But here the problem I think that we run into with this whole conversation is it's Schrodinger's fantasy, because she either wants it or doesn't want it on the basis of how she feels about it in the moment, right? Or
she wants it but doesn't want to admit to the outside world that she wants it.
Right. It's she wants it, but she doesn't want it if it's going to be, if it's better for her to be seen not wanting it, right? If she thinks that you will, here's one. If a woman thinks that you will think less of her for having those impure thoughts, and this is where Christianity really screws up.
Mm-hmm.
Right, then she won't admit to it, even if she has it. This is something that I've seen talked about on the edges of the Christian circles as kind of like a hey guys problem, like hey guys, there's something going on here, but it gets thrown out by the feminists as no, that's not real. Well, the feminists have an agenda for the church that involves making men into slaves for women. No, slaves for women. Yeah. So you can't have this idea that specifically the feminists want Christian men to be pay pigs for women, and you can't have this idea. So you can't have this idea at all that women have these fantasies, and that the guy, he might be capable of delivering them, because remember, in the feminist, he should be able to have her pay pig, and then have her Christian pay pig, and then have somebody else on the side who is a more dominant masculine man to fulfill the fantasies, because part of the fantasy is that it is a dominant masculine man fulfilling it.
Yeah.
And then there's another aspect. Ideally, she would want to experience this without judgment. So if this overly Christian man is so puritanically Christian minded that, these are bad things, we can't even do that, and then he would criticize her for having such fantasies, then she can't ever really reveal her true self to him. But she remains vulnerable to a dominant other man coming into her life and experiencing it there, and that man wouldn't judge her, and so she can maintain her facade with her husband. So this is one of the ways that Christian women are tempted into extracurricular activities. Let's not
Mhm.
pretend that they're not tempted.
Yeah. Well, and then look here. These fantasies act as a way to enjoy sex without guilt or shame. As it shifts the responsibility of initiation away from themselves.
This is huge.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you can see like many women, the ones who are more honest, they admit it, that they have those fantasies. But then because
Okay, but why do they need it?
well, okay, in that video that I've watched, I don't know if you guys want to watch it. It's 20 minutes long.
No.
No, okay.
I'll vote with Plutarch.
Okay. Well, I'll just summarize. I have a few notes here. They say that they have these fantasies because they are lacking something in real life. It could be that reason, but it's mostly they are really pushing on this being a safe place for women to express their desires and feelings.
No. Well, okay. What fantasies come from two places? Oh, but they're actually really just one place. They're missing something. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, why do children act out? Steve, you.
Well, they have free will. They're discovering life. They want to know where the boundaries are.
Oh, boundaries.
Sometimes it's just, I want to do it, and it's an impulse move, and they haven't been trained to consider the consequences. When I say trained, I mean that's a learned thing. We can put that under the category of discipline. They're not self-disciplined. How do they achieve self-discipline? Oh, by bumping up against the boundaries and getting the consequences of their behavior. And it's life discovery. And it's kind of just a feature of human nature.
Okay. So the purpose of so children act out because they are this. People will tell me I'm wrong. They're looking for the boundaries. Children are looking for the boundaries of consequence. At what point do I do something that earns a consequence? Right.
Well, and they're just naturally curious.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
now
we push for lots of things because we're curious. And we also discover boundaries that way.
Okay.
Well, women behave like children.
Well, okay. I was getting to that.
Okay.
Look, no, well, okay. The problem with women is we as a society have decided that placing boundaries on women is bad. It's evil. Okay. You can't place boundaries on women anymore, which means that women never discover the consequences. They never discover the boundaries. Okay. So now what I find interesting is this was a well understood phenomenon throughout history that women are not disciplined the way men are. Steve we were talking offline one. Steve was saying, it's the thumbnail for this show is John Wayne spanking some girl in a movie he did. It's what, McClintock or something like that. Okay. That movie was made after suffrage, women's suffrage. That movie was made after first wave feminism. Okay. And they still made it. Right. But people understood that women do not get disciplined the same way men do. And that because of that, you have to discipline women. Now look.
Yeah. Oh,
Go
can
ahead,
can I illustrate this point? We're not going to play this video. Better Bachelor, Joker, just did a video on this. Experts admit we have a global crazy woman problem. Okay, he goes through examples of women behaving badly. We know this is happening in the Black community. Black men are starting to say, yeah, oh man, our women behave badly. Get into cat fights and whatnot. Okay, there's a story here about a Florida woman rented an Airbnb and took pictures of urinating on different objects in the Airbnb and posted it on some site and was paid for it. But then, oh, magically, somehow it was found, and now she's accountable for her behavior. My God, if she was shown boundaries by imposing discipline on her earlier on in life, she probably wouldn't be doing such crazy things. That's my contention.
Yeah. Well,
we are seeing the consequences of not imposing discipline and boundaries on women. So your statement, women need spanking, okay, big deal.
Apparently,
so we were talking before about the fantasy side of it and the ass smacking side of it. Now you're talking about the put them over your knee side of it.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Not brutally, but you know, it's like, okay, you hit the boundary, don't do this again. Smack, smack. Okay, hug, hug, kiss, kiss. Now, are we back on track?
Yeah. Would the cry of feminism for equality apply to accountability and consequences?
Oh, of course not, Tacticus. But you asked the question knowing the answer because we know where you sit on this.
Well, but even the people who say that they are anti-feminist and they are pro-patriarchy, they don't actually want, a lot of them don't want women to be restrained in any way. They don't want women to be disciplined. They are fine. And see, they are not attacking people, and I'm talking about these suspected bot networks and other anti-male propagandists. They don't go after people who are promoting neo-feminism, who say, well, let's just blame everything on feminism. Feminism is evil, right? But they don't actually want to impose any discipline, boundary, and restraint on women. Still, those people are okay. They get a pass, right? Because it's still feminism. It's just marketed differently. It's a different form of feminism. It's neo-feminism now. You criticize feminism for everything, and yet you do nothing with it, essentially. Because women were unrestrained before, and women are unrestrained now, still.
Look, the point of everything is of all feminism is to give women authority without consequence. So would the cry of feminism for equality apply to it? Of course not, because the definition of feminism is give women authority without responsibility.
Yeah. Well, no, it's the definition of feminism is also take authority from men, take away authority from men, convert men into slaves.
No, that's not the definition of it.
Well, this is how it plays out.
Quiet.
It's an attribute.
That is a tactic. That is a method for achieving the goal. The goal is authority without responsibility. Now,
and without consequences.
Right. Now, the thing about discipline is, I have found that when it comes to disciplining women, it is far better to make sure to tailor the punishment to the crime. Okay. As many of you know, Elena is a hopeless addict to her cell phone. Okay. I have pulled the phone out of her hands, and I did this once at dinner, and she had a week. It was a whole week, 7 days of data, and the day with the least active screen time was 8 hours. She
What?
managed to.
No.
Oh yeah,
it's
no.
not-
This happened last year.
Oh,
I
okay.
did this, and so the shortest day she had on her phone was 8 hours. The longest was 13 and a half. Okay.
Wow.
I'm not even sure how she did this. Well, it had to involve not getting enough sleep, which is another chronic problem for her and her cell phone addiction. And when I saw that, what did I do? I did something that the feminists consider to be extremely abusive, just the worst possible thing a man could do to a woman. I took her phone away.
Would
Okay.
this fall under the category of electronic abuse?
I guess.
I'm sure they'd come up with something for it, but there, I admitted it. I have done horrible, horrible things to Elena. In
And
the
yet
eyes
here
of-
I am, still alive, and we are still together. Yeah, and and see, it's off to my benefit. Thanks to that, I started sleeping better.
for a
you
little
know,
while till you
yeah,
started
well,
doing
until
it again.
I got into it again. Yeah, but this requires women require constant management.
Yeah, the idea. So there is this idea that floating around that for every crime, the punishment should be the same. Okay. And it's like Elena, the punishment for too much screen time should be 40 lashings with a wet noodle. Okay. The punishment for forgetting to do your chores because you're forgetting to go to the grocery store because you spent too much time on your phone, 40 lashings with a wet noodle, right? Everything has to be the same, right? And I'm using 40 lashings with the wet noodle as kind of a stand-in here.
Yeah.
Okay. But the reality is that when we look at consequences that are suffered in real life, like by men, the
Mhm.
consequence always is directly related to the crime. Okay. Now, okay. So for example, if you are a mass murderer, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be put on death row, right? You kill a bunch of people, you're going to die. Okay. But we don't do death row for petty theft. Petty theft, you typically have to pay a fine plus the damages that you caused in the act of doing it, right? The punishment fits the crime because humans are contextual learners. Okay. If I say now there's an asterisk here because it used to be that we would hang people for theft, and that had some interesting impacts on society because what it was a very crude way of culling the low end of the IQ curve. This was practiced by the British for pretty much most of the British Empire. They really didn't have the concept of prisons or anything like that. They couldn't afford it, so they just you hung them. So,
well, there was another thing they did. You steal a loaf of bread, you get a one-way ticket to Australia.
No, okay, so they created a giant open air prison. Yes, they did that. but that's still a pretty extreme consequence. So I'm not saying that extreme consequences are bad. What I'm saying is that, and this has been particularly true with my experience with women, taking the phone away has been far more successful of a punishment mechanism than corporeal punishment has been.
That's the reason is simple. The consequences are more felt by women if it's an emotional based consequence, not a physical based. So, he told her, oh, woman, sew this button on my shirt. You get home that night and you say, is the button sewn on? She says, no. Oh, okay. Now, okay, woman, time for your severe beating. This just doesn't happen.
Yeah, but it's so funny. Like they associate spanking with the most vile, abusive experience one could come up with.
Well,
know?
that's partly cultural. We have, and it's partly political. We have decided that physical punishment is abuse, right? We've decided because it's easy to make a conflation, right? To a man who does a man who actually does abuse a woman, okay?
And there are those out there.
And there are those out there, does the same things that a man disciplining a woman would do. And so it's very easy for them to just put everything in that bucket and say, that's all abuse.
Well, but this
right?
is composition fallacy. Just
Sure,
because
fine,
a couple
whatever,
of men
but-
do it, and yeah, there are some evil men out there, but they are not the majority of men. The majority of men are benevolent, and they just want a family and a wife and have kids.
Right. But okay, so what was done was men said, okay, got you. We got you. We understand, ladies. Hitting you for everything we're not going to do that anymore. We just start doing things like cutting off access to money, cutting off access to the phone, cutting off access to the car, right? There's a restriction placed on you. And so what did women do then? Right, exactly, Tacticus. The nebulous use of abuse is now normatively seen as cruelty and not punitive consequences. Right, because we've decided that anything a woman doesn't like is abuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Plutarch,
So what?
every time you have to do that, you just so much enjoy it. You just delight for those occasions where you can impose some consequences, right?
Steve,
you live for those times.
Okay, guys. I'm going to fill you in on something here. Do you know how we give babies pacifiers to get them to shut up and stop crying?
Sure.
Do you know what a cell phone is to a woman? A cell phone to a grown woman is a pacifier. Okay. I don't want to take away the cell phone because the cell phone is a pacifier. It keeps her engaged and allows me to work in peace and quiet. Okay. I don't want to take this away.
I was saying that sarcastically. Okay,
it's true. It's true.
A man disciplining a woman is not a privilege.
No.
It's a duty. Because she needs to know where the boundaries are, and she can actually thrive within the boundaries. Outside of the boundaries, she is just out of control. And that left to her own devices, she will make decisions that are ultimately destructive to those around her and eventually to herself.
Yeah.
For instance, the biggest one is women initiate 70% of divorces or 80% if they're college educated. That is a destructive decision. She doesn't have the self-discipline to stick it out through a difficult time, or to, you know, discuss it, actually compromise and get at the core of it. Nope, she's out of there. Well, okay, it's financially destructive. It's certainly destructive to the children. And ultimately, it's destructive to her
Yeah.
because she cannot go out and monkey branch and find a better man. It just doesn't happen that often. Very, very rarely. And ultimately, she's going to be old and alone and living with cats and box wine. There's a reason the manosphere talks about this.
Mhm.
And you know what? Discipline would have been an act of mercy because it would have prevented her or encouraged her to learn, no, don't go there. You know what? You can be disciplined here. It's for your own good, and I still love you.
Yeah.
You didn't threaten anything. There's nothing scary here.
Well, and
But
see,
they don't know that.
Steve, they don't know that because they have never experienced that. It comes from their father imposing discipline and some restraint when they are being in the family growing
Well,
growing up.
it goes back to the Joker, the Joker headline that Steve put up here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if this woman had been properly disciplined as a child, do you
Yeah.
think she would do this?
No, I don't think so.
No, they wouldn't, because she
Because-
would
well,
understand
and
the
look-
consequences of doing so.
Well, first, it's your father. Let's say if your father was restraining her and disciplining her, then she would embrace that restraint and discipline coming from her husband later on. She would know the benefit of it.
Okay. Yeah. Only
She would
if
not
she w-
embrace, except
No.
maybe.
except maybe, but only if she hadn't gone through the indoctrination program known as college.
College, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing to remember about discipline is it is imposed order. Okay. It is not if these people could be naturally ordered, they would be naturally ordered. Okay.
Women are not that.
Right. Women are not naturally ordered. So the order is the discipline is imposed on them.
Yeah.
And anything that is, which makes it a learned behavior. Okay.
Mhm.
And any learned behavior can be unlearned. And the modern school system has gotten fantastically good at unlearning it at scale. Okay. So no.
How many
you know,
people would drive at 70 miles an hour if there was no speed limit?
None.
Oh, so we need some external force to cause people to behave in a certain way
Yeah.
for the good of society,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
but
Yeah.
not women. Oh,
Not
maybe we
women.
should remove speed limits for women.
Oh gosh, Steve.
So the title of the stream is Women Need Spanking, but let's be honest here, guys. What spanking is just a stand-in for discipline.
Discipline.
Women need discipline. And how that discipline is given to them, I'm going to say it this way. All methods are available to men to discipline the women. If you think that your woman is going to respond well to corporeal punishment, okay, do it. My experience has been there are far more effective ways to deliver consequences to women. And these ways, you have to kind of stretch the definition of abuse to get there, because in my opinion, a cell phone is a privilege, not a right. And especially since I'm paying for the cell phone.
Yeah.
Okay. It's no different than the teenage daughter and her cell phone, and you take it away. It's like, or the teenage son, and you take the door off its hinges. Yeah, but that's my door, son. I don't want you. I want to be able to look into your room and see what you're doing on the computer, right? Oh, you're doing naughty stuff on the computer?
What gives a man the right to do this to the wife as opposed to the wife doing this to the husband?
Oh, there's two answers to that. One, of course, is going to be the egalitarian answer of, well, the wife has the right to do that to a man. The interesting thing about that, though, is I know the answer you want, Steve, but I'm going to save that answer because
Okay.
there's also a practical problem with this. Okay. Let's say Elena decides that I've been on my cell phone too much. Now, she will tell you that that's not really possible because I'm on my computer too much because I work for a living on my computer. So my cell phone doesn't get used at all. But let's say she decides I'm on the cell phone too much and Elena needs more attention. She needs more hugs and kisses. Okay. Now, she likes this idea in general already. So she decides that she's going to take away my cell phone. Okay. But I work for a living. I need to be reachable. I need to be available for reasons that have nothing to do with with discipline, right? And so, it's like I can take away her car keys. Now, she doesn't drive much, but I can take them away. But then she's responsible for getting the groceries, so I have to give them back to her. Okay, and I have to give her cell phone.
Or you have to do the job.
Yeah, or I have to do the job, right? And if she's going to go driving, doing the groceries, I want her to have her cell phone in case she gets into a car accident, right? And so she can call me, right? So I have to give her the cell phone back. She knows this. Elena knows this. You can see her smirking over there. She knows that she's getting these things back at some point, right? Because
But when I'm driving, I can't watch a social media or read the comments,
darn. Right?
But I mean, yeah, if you're doing the actual job, you don't have time for it.
Well, right. And so the practical problem here is that sometimes these are tools that you have to do the job.
Yeah.
So Steve, the answer that you're looking for, of course, is what we would call natural order or biblical order. It is not the woman's place to discipline the man. It is God's, the church's, other men, etc. That is the answer you're actually looking for. I needed to put that.
Well, egalitarians, darling, watch this. Egalitarians could say, "But I'm working too," and then she uses.
That's okay. They will.
Let's try and implement that format in the workplace. Okay, now the worker, in the way it operates now, the worker has a boss. The boss has more responsibility than the worker. The boss tells the worker what to do. Hey, hierarchy. But now, let's change that. Let's put the egalitarian model in there. The worker is equal to the boss, but the worker knows more than the boss. So now the worker can actually manipulate and put consequences on the boss, and the worker can actually be in control and not the boss. How well is that going to work? Somebody has to be in charge. That's why there's a head of household, which is called, traditionally been the man. He's the head of the household. Now, if you put the woman in charge of the household and she calls the shots, will she take responsibility for what happens? If there's no bread, no money, no nothing coming in, there's consequences. Will she accept responsibility for the consequences of making the poor decisions that led to this situation?
But Steve, some of them will. A few of them will.
A few, yeah. But look, the recent.
Theoretically.
I received a couple of comments from one lady, and she was saying that they are doing 50-50, like totally egalitarian, equal, and then they have respect for each other, and then they love each other, and they've been married for like 5 years and have a child. And so she she doesn't believe what we are talking about, because it seems to work out for her at the moment. And look, I'm happy for her. Like, if it works out for her, fine. I know it's
50-50 is bullshit.
bullshit, but I know that's
She
also
doesn't
50-50.
have 50-50. She's
She's in
calling the
charge.
shots. What her feelings are dominant, and he caters to her feelings, which works for now.
Yeah.
But you know what? Give it another 2 years. She's going to realize, oh man, this guy doesn't stand up for himself. I don't respect him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a better man out there that I can be equal with.
Yeah, right. Women don't realize that they can never be happy with the men that they're equal with. Equal means she's in charge. Also,
it's simpler than that. It's the whole concept of egalitarianism is based on the communist utopian ideal that all humans are not just equal, but equally perfect. Yeah, that's equal maxing. That's a pretty good way to describe it, Tacticus. So they cannot even accept the idea that one person is superior to another person at anything. And so then the woman just becomes a replaceable cog for a woman just becomes a cog that you can replace the man with, and they will function equally. So really your problem here is that the people saying this do not accept the idea that there are differences between men and women. I mean, okay, if you push them on it, they'll say, oh, of course they are this and that. And they start listing either physical differences, like strength.
Psychological differences.
Yeah, psychological differences. But what they never, because they're not smart enough to realize what they're saying, they don't realize is that those differences make you a different person. They invalidate the theory that you can be equals. Okay? Elena is not my equal. She's just isn't. She goes to the gym. She works out every single day. Okay? I sit at a computer for a living. I routinely, despite putting zero effort into strength training, routinely beat her at strength training, at feats of strength. Like there is nothing that she can do better than me, just in the physical attributes. Okay. Oh, but Elena's a smart girl. Okay. Yeah. And I routinely beat her at feats of logic. I didn't say feats of thinking. I said feats of logic. Okay. Because she's a woman. She doesn't do logic natively. For her, it is, and she has learned some of it, but it's a learned thing for her. Okay. Yeah. Which means that for her, she's always slower. She has to sit there and actually think through it. Where for me, it's just, this is my normal everyday thing. Okay. We are not equal. But if we are not equal, then that means that somebody is superior. Somebody is the superior in the relationship.
Yeah.
That's true. But women perceive things without logically going through all the steps to get there. So, therefore, sometimes women can actually arrive at the answer or maybe discover an issue faster than the man. She's not going through all the steps to get there. But to fully understand it, it requires both people. And that's why, a marriage is a union between a man and a woman, and they each bring important things in. So yeah, okay, the man is the superior.
But Steve,
that doesn't mean the woman is not contributing things that the man won't.
Steve. But if the woman is bringing important things in, then isn't what she says just as important? How can the man claim claim that he has the right to discipline her? Steve, you got to.
Yeah, that's my question. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna build a missile with a nuclear bomb on it. I'm gonna be the program manager, and I'm gonna direct people. I'm gonna get a nuclear scientist to develop the warhead. Then I'm gonna get a rocket scientist to develop all the guts. Oh, then I need a communications guy and a guidance guy. And okay, I got so damn many functions. I'm responsible for all of them. But each one of those people working for me has greater expertise in a certain area. So am I their equal in technical skill in their area of specialty? No. Am I still their superior? Yes. Okay, why can't we apply this same simple understanding to marriage? Well, for some reason, women resist that.
Well,
And
because they think
men don't really like the idea, because you know what? In our modern society, a lot of men like to avoid responsibility as well.
Well, Steve, why women resist that is because they think that if they bring, and then the neo-feminists would say like peace and respect, all of these traits that women can't bring by themselves, not without a man being dominant and imposing discipline and restraint on them. They say that if she brings those things, that should be enough that qualifies her to be in charge, basically. So she can be a good cook, she can be a great mom, and that automatically puts her on the pedestal because she brings those things that men can't survive without. And this is their argument that they're using. I think it's BS, but this is what they go for. Femininity is fempowerment for them. They even say that, look, femininity is your strength, is what gives you what you want, ladies.
Right.
It's
and
just
men
a different
understand
strategy.
that. Modern men understand that so very well. And all those things that she's bringing, but she's not bringing purity or a low body count.
Yeah.
So the men are looking at that and saying, yeah, I don't need what you're bringing to this relationship. So count me out. I'm not interested in you.
I'm not.
So men are actually agreeing with you.
Well, I know, and I'm glad to see that because, and it will work. What women are doing is going to work on a weaker man with weaker frame who want a feminine woman, who want her to be a queen, and then he would think that if she's a queen, then he's a king too, and then like this kind of delusion that both men and women have. We've talked about it.
That's
right?
Hilarious. You're saying this is going to work on the men that the women don't want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, femininity is just emotional manipulation for women to get what they want from men with the least amount of effort, with the least sacrifice. I would even use this word because in the feminist mindset today, just safe to assume that all of us are feminists, and we are on social media. We are using all of the benefits that feminism gave us, even the contraception. If you don't want to have kids, like what do you use? Well, you use the contraceptive methods not to have kids, right? Even if you are married. So yeah, and then they virtue signal and they say, well, I'm not that, I'm against that. And it's just, well, now femininity is my power. Notice how they talk about femininity. Even it's not about submission. They might even throw submission there because they know this is something that some red pill guys have been talking about. and they, to some extent, they do realize that they have to give up like little things, but the core purpose, the core idea is to still enslave men. Just do it gently.
Yeah, well, let's talk about, is there a biological aspect here?
Of women wanting to enslave men?
Oh, let's say the nice guy who listens to what women say they want.
Mm-hmm.
He's married to her. He's just a dutiful husband. He provides, just a good man. Tries to, do whatever she says, keep her calm. He takes out the garbage every morning. He unloads the dishwasher. And, he's like all men. He wants sex.
Mm-hmm.
But he's faithful and he wants sex with her. So option A, he goes out and buys a bouquet of flowers on his way home from work. And he presents his wife with the bouquet of flowers. Option B, forget about the flowers. He comes home from work. He seeks her out. Oh, she's washing dishes and her elbows are, she's got the rubber gloves on and the suds and all that. And he comes up and he just smacks her on the ass. Which woman of the two will experience excitement and arousal, and which is likely to result in some sexual intimacy?
The second one.
Why? Well, but women say they want to be treated nicely and given gifts and all that. Is there a biological component here? She said this is what she wanted, and he gave it to her, and now he's not getting any.
Oh, you mean like biological component that women lie about what they want?
No, a biological component that women are aroused when a man is dominant.
Okay.
And provide some physical stimulation. She's certainly not going to be aroused when a man beats her all the time. But if he smacks her on the ass once in a while, yeah, okay. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, it's more exciting.
So these women who are against you and just coming out against you and actually trying to destroy your reputation for this simple thing. Women need spanking. What are they trying to prove? It's actually
they need spanking, Steve. Well, they this is what they do. The more they, okay, what I think in this case, okay, you're familiar with Hamlet, The Lady Doth Protest Too Much by William Shakespeare, right?
Yes.
The more they say they don't want it, the more they say, I just think immediately that, yeah, they do. Because this is one way how, like, the women who are not interested in this, even like I give them the credit, the benefit of doubt, there will be some women who like, okay, whatever, it's their preference and they may not want it, but then they usually stay away from this topic. They don't engage with this, right? And then they just do what they are doing out there. But the women who are really attacking you for the idea, they are the ones who actually are begging for it. With their action. Look what happens. I've seen so many videos by Donovan Sharp where women were misbehaving, right? They were stealing things from the supermarkets. They were harassing somebody, especially police officers. And then they were begging those guys by their actions, by their own behavior, to restrain them, to discipline them, to impose some physical restraint in some of those cases. Why do they do it? Well, that's a separate question. Maybe because they are not being restrained elsewhere. Their husbands are not imposing any discipline and restraint on them, or they could be single cat ladies out there, right? So they go out and then they are craving that kind of male dominance and restraint from the police officers. They go into these protests like, why are women rebelling? Why are women protesting?
It's their nature.
It's their nature. They want to be dominated by a man, whether they admit it or not. Whether they are honest with themselves even or not, that's a separate question. So a lot of women, even who are criticizing me for saying those things, who are attacking me, who are trying to destroy my reputation, they still want to be dominated by a dominant masculine man. They just don't want other women to see it. They are trying to suppress that message. They are trying to silence that idea so that other women cannot be happy in their marriages, and they might only fantasize about it but not actually experience it with their husbands.
I want to
No,
go
I don't think
into
it's-
another. Go ahead.
I don't think it's that they're trying to make other people miserable in their marriages. That requires a level of intentionality towards destruction.
Well, do you
I
remember?
don't think women have.
Oh, no, darling. Do you remember we had Dr. Denis Sulikovsky a few months ago in September?
No.
It's whether it's direct or indirect, whether it's conscious or unconscious, it leads to manipulating.
The only reason you're bringing this up is because you were doing clips.
Well, I was doing
of that
shorts,
show
and
last night.
it kind of
No.
reminded me, and I was thinking
Okay.
about it because
No.
it makes sense.
No, women are not
Well-
out there trying to. Most women are not out there trying to actively destroy everyone else's relationships.
Okay, let me address this. Okay, I did some inquiries on AI. I use Copilot AI. I asked a question: why do some people exaggerate spanking into allegations of abuse or mental issues? I'll just read it for anyone listening. Here's AI answering me. Here's a clean, psychologically grounded explanation. I'll keep it educational, non-graphic, and focused on why some people interpret or exaggerate consensual spanking fantasies as signs of abuse or mental problems, even though the research doesn't support that.
Wow.
This misunderstanding comes from cultural, psychological, and communication factors, not from anything inherently unhealthy about the fantasy itself. Let's break it down clearly. People often confuse fantasy with real-world desires. Many people don't realize fantasy doesn't equal preference, fantasy doesn't equal behavior, fantasy doesn't equal pathology. Okay, I'm going to scan through this. Spanking is historical associations with punishment, because spanking has been used as discipline, punishment, authority enforcement. Some people associate it with abuse, power imbalance, childhood memories. So when they hear spanking fantasy, they mentally jump to, that must be unhealthy. That must be trauma related. But in adult psychology, consensual impact play is not linked to childhood trauma. That's a myth. People project their own discomfort. Some people find spanking embarrassing, shameful, violent, taboo. They may assume anyone who enjoys it must be damaged, abused, mentally unstable. Some people don't understand consensual kink, and they've never been opposed. Talks about BDSM, consent frameworks, safe word systems, adult role play. Anything involving this must be abusive or must be unhealthy. Media reinforce these stereotypes.
No.
Go ahead.
You skipped over something that I think is actually key to understanding this. Anything involving power must be unhealthy. Remember, feminists are obsessed with power dynamics. It is their entire existence is an obsession with power dynamics, and anything that anything at all that looks like it is giving men power is immediately not just suspect, but it is immediately evil. It is to be cast out. It is to be attacked. It is to be that thing, whatever it is the enemy of feminism. And so that is why you can have feminists who participate in BDSM and 50 Shades of Grey, which is a BDSM series of books about that. Okay. But then the moment that it looks like there might be a power imbalance in this, boom, gone. Nope, you can't do that. Right. I mean, the BDSM stuff is often, in my opinion, way worse than spanking. Okay, in terms of what it does to the human body. Okay, but that's okay, because it's not about the act. And we were discussing this. We've been discussing this all week. The problem that the people attacking Elena had was not with the fact that she was talking about spanking specifically. The problem the problem that they had is that she was talking about discipline and boundaries and men having power over women.
Well, this is why they equated spanking with beating women.
Of course.
Yeah, and I'll get to that a little bit further with my next question I asked AI. Let's finish this one. Media stereotypes reinforce this misunderstanding. Oh, yes. It's a sign of trauma, a sign of instability, a sign of moral deviance, something only damaged people do. So they associate this with pathology, anticipation, power dynamics. Okay, bingo. That's what Plutarch called out. Vulnerability. Women don't want to be vulnerable. Sensation. Oh. Then people moralize sexuality. Oh, do they ever? Especially in the Christian sphere. This is wrong. This is deviant. This is immoral. In plain English, people exaggerate spanking fantasies into abuse or mental issues because they don't understand the difference between fantasy and reality. They associate spanking with punishment, project their own discomfort, lack knowledge about consensual kink or consensual preferences. Let's just call it that. Believe media stereotypes, moralize sexuality, confuse intensity with pathology. Okay, and then you want to comment on that? Because the next one I want to go to is, does this correlate with a person's deep-seated guilt and wanting to avoid consequences?
Ooh.
Elena is intrigued. See, AI can be very useful for uncovering things like this. Yeah, it could spout bullshit at you. So you need to be able to discern whether that is. But, you can explore a lot of issues and get a lot of information, because remember, it has resources to things you have not ever seen. So let's go through this. Does this correlate with a person's deep-seated guilt and wanting to avoid consequences? Not really. Okay, it's saying not really, but
I think,
actually
it
it's
is.
saying I was right because it misunderstood the focus. But we'll get into that. You're touching on something interesting. Why some people react strongly or moralistically to spanking fantasies, even when those fantasies are normal, common, and not linked to pathology. The short answer, some people do interpret spanking fantasies through the lens of guilt, punishment, or consequences. But that says more about their own psychology, not the person who has this fantasy.
So see how they are justifying having a fantasy without having any consequences for it.
No, Elena mentioned women need spanking. She's not pathological. She doesn't have any problems. But the people who then attack her, this actually reflects on their psychology.
Okay.
Not about her comment, fantasies, whatever. It's about their reaction. And is their reaction related to their personal guilt, the outsider, the other person? It's not about the fantasy. It's about how the observer interprets it. These were all observers who attacked her. People with strong guilt avoidance frameworks project their worldview. Oh, are they projecting their worldview on you, Elena?
Yes.
Oh, they have an deep internal belief that pleasure must be earned. Intensity is dangerous. Breaking the rules lead to punishment. When they see a fantasy involving power or intensity, they interpret it through their own guilt-based lens. So they jump to, this must be about punishment. This must be about avoiding consequences. This must be unhealthy. But that's their projection, not the fantasy's meaning. People who fear their own pulses often moralize others' fantasies. If someone is uncomfortable with their own desires, their own imagination, their own intensity, they may label others' fantasies as abnormal to distance themselves from their own discomfort. This is a classical defense mechanism. Condemn what you secretly fear in yourself. Let's let Plutarch comment on this.
I was only going to say that this account that was attacking you, why did they immediately run to the most damaging sexual accusation they could make? They were telling on themselves. Okay. They were telling so remember, it's a bot augmented human account. There is a human behind there, and as best we can tell, that human skews nominally female in terms of how they write and what they talk about. Okay. They use cool technology to augment their presence, but there is a human behind that. Now, there's two ways you can think about this, because if doing an analysis is very difficult, because you can tell bots to write in male and female styles. And I have reasons to suspect that the account is actually not run by a female, but run by a male. However, the reason that they go after this, and the reason they use that attack, was not necessarily because they themselves reacted this way, condemn what they secretly fear in themselves, but because they understand that other people will react what they in the same way, that they will react what they so. They will
essentially, the idea was to agitate other people to react and to hate me. Yeah.
Well, not hate. No. The purpose was to agitate people into thinking that you were sexually immoral because of something you said, and it just so happens that what this thing is saying here is they are afraid of what you said. Okay. And so this account could agitate them using this accusation to leverage their secret fears of themselves as a weapon against you. This is a very, very powerful propaganda technique. Okay. That's why they did it.
Very common, very ordinary. Women do this to men within a marriage all the time. And in the divorce, damn, is moralistic accusations common?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's another day ending in Y there, Steve. Right. So So if you're running a propaganda account,
Mm-hmm.
you have to know these things that you're seeing on the screen right here. The person running this account probably doesn't give a shit one way or the other. If the account is as I suspect and it's being run by men, and I'm using the term men
Humans,
plural.
yeah, humans.
No,
No?
men,
Men.
males, plural.
Oh, males, okay.
Advisedly, because yes, it puts off a nominal female vibe, but when you poke the bear enough, some very non-female language starts falling out of that account. Okay. Because men can leverage this stuff rationally, okay, without getting involved in it, emotionally involved in it.
Well,
right?
this is why Steve was analyzing during your Wednesday's live stream how it reacted to the nickname that we came up with.
Right. It didn't react to the nickname how a woman would have reacted.
Yeah.
We gave it a nickname that should have sent a woman through the roof. Like that should have been her focus for the next 10 posts, because that's how a woman would respond, right?
Yes.
And it didn't. And this is why we suspect it's run by a team of men who have trained bots to make it sound like it's a woman. Pretty easy to do.
True enough. But in general, okay, this next thing. For some people, especially women, I'll add that in, anything involving power or impact triggers associations with discipline, punishment, consequences.
Oh, look at that.
Do women tend to want to avoid those three things?
Oh, of course.
Right. And so this account was able to leverage lots of women who so these women think that this account is being run by a woman. It's probably not. It's probably being run by a group of men. Very likely a group of Asian men based on the spelling mistakes that we saw. No, it's just a thing. Asian syntax produces.
But then does it mean that they could have bought this account while they are in Asia, but the account says US?
There's ways around that. It's not a perfect system. Okay. No, it's minor detail. No, so this group of Asian men is running an influence account, right? And it made some so Elena, you make syntactic and grammar errors that are very unique to Russian translations to English, right? Okay.
Yes, usually.
You do. Okay, it's fine. It's fair. You're not a native English speaker. I'm not trying to say anything bad about you here.
Yeah, I know.
My point is that Asians have a similar problem. It's just expressed in different ways. Okay, because their syntax and grammar basically patterns their brain to structure language in a certain way that shows up. And so we were able to poke that out. But if you know this, and particularly there's a couple Asian cultures that are very well trained in psychology. The Chinese are one of them. Okay. If you know all of this and you can apply this stuff rationally without getting emotionally involved in it, you can use this to leverage armies of women, because the women they do have these negative associations, right?
Well, they basically play on women's emotions and feelings, on women's fears against women.
Of course, yeah, that's
manipulate women to do what they want them to do. So as a result of these guys, I'm telling you, a lot of women blocked me and they reported me.
Fine, whatever.
Right.
And
that's what I brought up here. People associate rigid moral frameworks, or with moral frameworks, often interpret kink as pathology. Or if you're trying to manipulate people, manipulate women, get them to associate their rigid moral framework and have them call someone kink or pathological, because you're preying on their misinterpretation or worldview that sexuality must be pure, intensity is wrong, Power dynamics are dangerous. Okay, same things. Then any deviation from this, and remember, these are all attributes from other people or those trying to manipulate other people, you get them to associate it with abuse, trauma, mental issues, avoidance of consequence. And this is a moral judgment. And this bot was manipulating, it was propaganda to manipulate others into attacking you.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it's preying on other people's personal issues, which in many cases I believe that women don't really tell the truth in life because they want to avoid consequences. Therefore, they're never really loved for who they are because they never reveal who they really are. And they feel deep guilt about some past, generally sexual things, but they can never express it. So that repressed guilt just kind of festers. And then anybody who brings up anything that causes them to reflect on their internal guilt must be attacked because that person made them feel bad. So you attack the messenger.
Yeah.
Well, there's a broader and deeper meaning behind all of this. And that is what we're unpacking here is how easy it is to maneuver women in general. And then the funny thing is, in the red pill, we know how easy it is to maneuver women. We do it all the time. And the women hate us for it. But here's the thing: when a man
they love it.
No.
But they hate it.
No. They hate us for it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't hate that. They don't hate how they feel when we do it, but they hate that we can. They hate that we have that power over them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All we're really talking about here is how this has this insight that men are leveraging on specific women has been leveraged against women at scale in large groups.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The broader problem is the women. When one man does this to one woman for the purpose of getting sex, let's say, the woman recognizes when it's being done to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if she enjoys it, she recognizes that it's being done to her. Okay, cool. When it is done to entire groups of women all at once, because it was done to a group of women, and all those women are saying the same things at the same time, they don't recognize it anymore. They think that is an actual true statement or outcome, that these manipulations that are being done to women are real, are the actual truth.
Yeah.
So does the fantasy correlate with deep-seated guilt or avoidance? Not in the person who has a fantasy. But it does correlate with the others who are judging or attacking that person. They have a high guilt sensitivity, rigid moral frameworks, discomfort with their own desires, difficulty separating fantasy from reality, projection tendencies. What's that thing called? Confession by projection?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so what this account was doing was leveraging this in the other women that follow the account. Remember, the account has used a digital narrative through a bot network to make it appear as if this account is more popular with women than it is. Okay. And what that does is it's a signal to other women that, hey, this is an account that's popular with women like me. And then this account can then use this psychology right here to take the women that have come in with their rigid moral frameworks but more importantly, their discomfort with their own desires. Okay. And leverage those women back outwards to attack. In this particular case, they want to attack the idea of dominant masculine presence, is how we would call it, but to attack this idea of a dominant man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that the man can do these take these disciplinary actions without it being abused, that the man can, you know,
Well,
even if it's not intended
they
as
don't
it's
want.
fun.
There were a few comments there, guys, and I'm not going to bring them up. You can go check them. Some of them were deleted, though, and I took some videos and pictures, and I did take a lot of them, where one of these accounts was saying, and I'm not even sure whether it's a human or, again, maybe Pop Saget account. That
Did you mean to say sock puppet?
Sock puppet. Sorry, sock puppet account. Where it was saying that there are a lot of married men who are watching it, and if men realize that they can do that, maybe they would be more dominant in their marriages, and then these accounts desperately don't want it.
Well,
and then maybe the world would be a better place for if
I
men did
agree with
realize
you,
that.
Steve.
Well,
I agree with you.
That's what we call a proximate outcome. That is a larger goal that sits proximate. The specific goal here is to shut down the discussion of it.
Yeah.
With the proximate outcome of that being that men don't get the idea that this might be okay.
It might be okay, yeah, for you.
But
to...
the primary goal is to shut down the discussion by leveraging moralists, by leveraging moralism in ways that are contradictory to the morals themselves, right? Because people, particularly with rigid moral frameworks, do not understand what their morals actually are, because a person with a rigid moral framework is just going, they have a list of received rules. Anything that violates that rule or looks like it might violate that rule is a violation of that, right? Okay. Now, as Christians, we have to be careful because, yes, there are hard rules that we have to follow, but Christianity also has this really cool thing called grace that allows us to say, yeah, you human are going to break the rules all the time, and it's not enough. Okay. These people don't have that second part. They don't have that ability to say humans are going to violate the moral rules, and we have to accept that they're going to violate the rules, right? So you often see this with Christians, particularly American Christians and evangelicals. Oh my God. Where they have these hyper rigid moral frameworks for other people, but when you actually get it, like these people for themselves, they're like, it's all about they cover themselves in grace, and they immediately turn around and apply this hyper rigid.
So it's like they use your moral framework. They hold you to your own moral principles, but they don't hold themselves to the same principles.
Well, they don't see. Remember, these are people who don't have a theory of mind for other people, so they can understand. No, they don't. And what I mean what I said there. They don't have a theory of mind for other people. They know their own mind. They know they're a sinner. Right.
Yeah.
And so they'll swear, they will tell you all about all the sin that they, but the idea that someone else might have that same problem and that they should get the same grace is where they tend to fall down.
Well, they're like in humility.
Let me describe this in a secular time. Right. They invent this rigid moral framework and invent rules for themselves maybe because of guilt, whatever. I can't experience that. That's sinful, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't recognize that someone else with different experiences could justly, rationally have different desires and reach different conclusions and have a different outlook. And then they try to impose their own internal artificial rules on others because they don't recognize other people have an independent mind, independent action, independent thoughts, and you can't impose your
Well,
self
Steve,
invented moral rules on others.
you
Christianity
actually
is different. It
okay.
has general rules that we all need to impose on ourselves. Spanking your wife is not a sin. Sorry.
Well, look, they can impose these ideas on women because women were designed to be followers. They either follow their husband, a dominant masculine man,
Well,
or they
sure,
follow their father,
but
right?
that's what they're
But
trying to do with
or they
the
follow this feminist ideology that they are
Yeah.
trying to impose on women.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
like, I would argue
that's
that yes, they are trying to.
that's the longhouse. Fine. You don't okay, just
Yeah.
use the shorthand. Longhouse. Got it.
Okay.
Okay. I know you love your words. Just say the longhouse, right?
Okay, move on, darling. Mhm.
The she's very tired today,
I'm
guys,
very
because
tired. Yeah,
she
I'm not.
misbehaved last night
Mhm.
and not in a good way. And did not go to bed on time. So what you've been dealing with for the past week is just an attempt to enforce the rules of the longhouse. That's all. Okay? This is all about keeping the longhouse intact, keeping women on the plantation,
Yeah.
leveraging their guilt, their discomfort, which are great things to leverage, by the way.
Yeah.
For propaganda, guilt is the best possible leverage you can get, and these people know it. And so the people attacking you were leveraged to attack you for the purpose of keeping the longhouse and its rules intact, so that they can so that the people who can manipulate women have all the power.
Yeah.
Right. And this is why the feminists hate the red pill, because the red pill gives men that power. Okay. And it's
not through force.
no.
The red pill gives men the power through knowledge.
Correct. Yes. And they can't have that knowledge getting out. That's why they hate us so much. It's not that they hate us because we don't teach men to use force. We teach men to use knowledge. And that's dangerous because they can't use the force argument right? It's like, no, and that's why they say what we teach is manipulation, right? That's where that comes from. Okay, but here's the thing. These people are manipulating women too. They just do it in a way that disguises that that's what they're doing, specifically leveraging group dynamics and group safety feelings for women. Okay. I think this is actually a huge point that both the red pill, but people on the right in general need to understand about how they are being destroyed. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically female nature is being used against women.
Correct. In ways that makes the women being my view of this is that the women who were leveraged against you were the ones who were actually abused.
Probably.
Yeah,
not physically.
Okay. And this one, people with high guilt sensitivity projected onto others. I believe, and my stream, I'm going to lead the stream on Wednesday. I'm going to talk about guilt and guilt as a motivation of women to project onto others, to cover over their guilt.
Mhm.
And so the women who were leveraged against you have deep-seated guilt about something. And then they're taking it out on you to attempt to keep their guilt, their past issues hidden from the world or those around them. Because they can be moralistic, they can show themselves to be highly morally sensitive, and attacking an issue is means to cover up something deep within themselves.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't take it personally. What they did, I just know that it's out there, and yeah, a lot of people
Well, okay.
don't want men to
there's
impose
anything
any
else, please.
discipline on women.
There's another aspect to this so we've talked a lot about how these women are being abused by these accounts, for these leveraged propaganda accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the answer? How do you defeat that? Well, the answer is actually really simple. A properly disciplined woman will not suffer the abuse of these accounts. These accounts are abusive. They are leveraging women's inherent traits,
Yeah.
to create a situation that is dangerous for women. Women being on their own, it is dangerous for women to be on their own. We are seeing an increase in rape. Why? Because women voted to import the third world, and now we're seeing an increase. This is particularly prevalent in Europe. Why? Because propaganda accounts like this were leveraged to convince women that importing infinity third worlders was, in this particular case, necessary to save the third worlders. It was literally save the baby, because these are helpless children who need our help. Okay, so these accounts leveraged women to voting for this, and now we're seeing this. So women's own behavior, unrestrained, is dangerous to women.
It is.
But when their behavior is under the authority, is controlled under the authority of a man,
Mm-hmm.
that woman is no longer susceptible. And that's part of the reason they're attacking you. You're not susceptible to their manipulations, and that angers them. Okay?
There's another aspect where women damage themselves. When they're without a relationship, without a man, a divorced woman. Is a divorced woman happy? Let's say
She says she is, but
no, the first
yeah,
6 months she'll say she is.
Mm-hmm.
Then reality hits. She's not happy. She's not content. She ends up complaining, lamenting about where are all the good women. Oh, life is
We're
so
good men.
hard.
Mm-hmm.
She ends up having a miserable life. The amount of years from 40 to 80 is a long damn time.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be pleasant for her. So because she wanted to escape any authority of the man and didn't like that leadership, or maybe he didn't assert his authority and he was boring, she leaves. Peter smacked her on the ass a few times and kept her excited and moist.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the outcome would have been different. So maybe spanking a woman is an act of mercy.
It is. And see, I think that women who have high IQ, I guess, they realize the benefit of it. They realize the benefit of it for themselves and for their children. They embrace. Yeah, they may not enjoy it in the process when it's done to them. I don't always enjoy when my husband takes my phone away, but I know that it's good for me in the long term. It serves to my benefit. because unrestrained female nature is self-destructive. Women make very stupid decisions and then they tend to regret them later on. And we see the proof of it. There are so many older women. I think Richard Cooper recently on Twitter shared a lady, an older woman, who was saying that feminism wasn't what she was promised. It didn't give her what she wanted. She ended up working in the corporation, not seeing her kids. She's a single mom. She doesn't spend a lot of time with her kids, and she's very sad about it. And there are thousands of women like her who are admitting that, you know what, it wasn't as great of a path for them as they thought it was going to be.
So I think some people who saw this title may have come in and thinking, oh, this is going to be spicy and salacious. And they're going to talk about sex stuff.
Yeah,
No.
I know, right?
We talked about the psychological aspects of this, more of a philosophical discussion rather than any titillating thing. So we probably disappointed some people.
Oh,
But
I'm pretty sure of that.
At least I think Elena is feeling better about herself and the fact that she got viciously attacked for saying this. Because she now has an understanding of the human dynamics and the aspects of propaganda that are aligned against her to marginalize the things she says.
Yeah.
We're in a fight. And we're in a fight that we don't really understand. Actually, no. That's understand is the wrong word. We're in a fight that we really don't, or that we really haven't fully drawn the boundaries on. And because here's the thing, we understand the tactics we're using. In the red pill, we use the same tactics. I think that's actually a little bit ironic. What we weren't prepared for was how they were being used against us and the women, right? Watching how this bot account has moved and what it was doing and how it leveraged human psychology. This has been a hard week.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of, oh, I'm really bummed out. No, I'm fired up. This has been a hard week of, I've had to learn a lot at a high rate of speed, which is mentally taxing. This has been a taxing week.
Yeah, it has
physically and mentally.
I didn't. This is one of the reasons why I went to bed so late.
Let me summarize it this way. We didn't understand the powers moving against us and the resources they had and the amount of money focused on silencing some minuscule people out there promoting traditional hierarchy in the family. Because here's something we haven't discussed. They're not just against Elena. They're against the manosphere. They're against certain traditional minded women who Elena doesn't agree with 100% of the time. They're against Christianity, the Christian family. They're against church, traditional churches. They're against a whole bunch, and we are just caught in this. This is a huge battle going on.
It is a
and
huge
the amount
battle.
of money focused on us is that's kind of what we're coming to terms with.
You know what I've noticed also, analyzing the psychology and all of the comments that I've received from possibly real people, also maybe.
There's a lot of real people there. There's a lot.
Other non-human accounts, right? They. How do I put it? The real people don't quite realize what's been done to them, I think. and the women who are being manipulated by this bot, it's just like you are not even you're not just fighting the people who the ideas of the people that you disagree with, but you're fighting the machine, you know. You're fighting the system that is designed against men, against male dominance, against masculinity, and all of the people who are promoting traditional principles, biblical hierarchy, biblical patriarchy, they are under attack too. They are being harassed by all of this, and we've analyzed. I've seen like they go really hard after that lady that I often disagree with on some parts, but I do agree with things that occasionally that she says, you know. Yeah, like watching this on display, it was very educational. Yeah, it's not just the red pill that they are going after. They are going after anybody who is promoting biblical patriarchy, male authority, for the most part, male authority, because what they allow women.
No. The purpose of doing this is much bigger. One of the problems that we're going to have to accept is that the reason behind this has nothing to do with just even keeping the longhouse. The purpose behind keeping the longhouse is to keep the Western culture fractured. Why? Because a fractured culture can't say no to mass immigration. A fractured culture will not engage with a weaker country, and China is a weaker country. And yes, I'm calling out China specifically here. And we will not engage with them to prevent them from becoming a stronger country than us, because we're so tied up with dealing with our internal fractures. One of the things about this that people do not understand is almost all of the propaganda is not for or against any political or ideological strain in the West.
It's whatever works to.
No, let me finish.
Okay.
The purpose of this, of all of this, is very simple. It is to keep us fractured. That's it.
With all means possible. They don't even care about the narratives that they are pushing, per se.
They're not in this country. What do they care? They're not subject
Why
to
do they care?
They don't care
how do
about
we
the
know that
politics
this
and the ideology.
Okay, darling, I have a
irrelevant.
question. I have a question. How do we know that these accounts were not originated in China, for example?
You can't know
or
that.
any other country
that
is interested in fracturing.
Okay. I explained this
US.
before. I explained this before on Wednesday. It's called a shelf account. You buy an account that was made in the United States a long time ago that has a good reputation, and you start operating it from whatever country you're in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, how that account changed, like the name 26
the name
times.
changed a lot. Yeah. Just calm down.
Let me ask, why does it matter? Why does it matter whether this account is run out of China?
It doesn't.
Russia, India, or Israel?
It doesn't.
Or the US? Why does it matter?
It doesn't. Because
to summarize what Plutarch was saying, if they keep us fractionated and infighting amongst ourselves as a society, we are easier to manipulate.
Yeah.
For the purpose of social engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is trying to do social engineering here and keep us infighting so they can manipulate us.
Well,
who that is doesn't matter. It does not matter who it is. It does not matter.
I wanted to say something that I forgot to mention, guys. I've noticed a lot of these accounts that were harassing me, they were calling themselves Christian accounts. So
Yeah, so
and they
what?
were pro egalitarianism, pro this. But I'm wondering, like, maybe
Okay,
these
no, no,
both
it
accounts also
it doesn't.
infiltrated church.
No, it doesn't matter. Because one of the things that happened when Elon turned on location data was we found out all the popular based Christian accounts were based out of Nigeria, Ghana, and Southeast Asia.
Jeez.
Okay, like that's just okay. At some point, we need to get over this fascination of the details of who said what and where they came from.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is what they're doing. They would love it if we would focus on this trivia that we, of where they came from. Why? Because it keeps us from not focusing on what they're doing.
Yeah, that's
and I don't know who.
True.
And here's the thing. You could say, oh well, everyone wants to say, oh well, it's this country, or no.
It doesn't matter which country. The outcome. Yeah.
Here's why it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the United States. It's Britain. It's Iran. It's China. It's Israel. It's Brazil, right? It's Singapore. It's Japan. They're all doing it. It's better.
Well, it's a matter. Oh, do we allow them? Do we, as a nation, allow them to destroy us, to fracture us from inside the country, or not?
Well,
how can we
inside or
prevent
outside doesn't matter. None of that matters. Everyone wants to make this about the details. Oh, well, are they a U.S. account or not? Blah, 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 blah. Don't care. What is their goal? Identify their goal.
Yeah.
And then start working against it. I don't care about the details of who they are, where they are. It doesn't
matter. Yeah, what's their agenda?
No, you're just saying, Plutarch, you don't want to be manipulated by people within the U.S. just as strongly as you don't want to be manipulated by the Chinese or the Russians?
Correct. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Once and here's the cool thing about this. Once you adopt that view of the world, your life gets really easy. You see, details are cognitive load. I have a lot of.
They distract you. They distract you. Details are distracting you.
It's cognitive load. Okay. I have enough cognitive load in my daily life. So when I get online and I have to look at this, the first thing I always do is I simplify. Okay. And then you start realizing, well, it doesn't really matter where these propaganda accounts are based. It's not relevant. What are they doing? What is their end goal?
Yeah.
Well, their end goal is to fracture Western society, because now people ask, well, why would they want to do that? Well, it actually doesn't matter, but there's really only two reasons. One, geopolitical power. That would be the Chinese answer. And the second is resource extraction, financial extraction. That would be the Indian answer. Okay. And those are really the only two available out there. The Chinese want geopolitical power. The Indians want money. Okay, great. And so now I can do with 3 sentences a huge amount of the problem. And then I can compress that in my head and boom, I don't have to carry the cognitive load of, well, this account's from Nigeria and this one's from the US. So I have to trust this one from the US.
Okay, and how do they, in terms of tactics that they are using, so going after people who are promoting natural authority
no, too many details again.
Darling, let me this is the thought process. I'm trying to come up with the idea.
What I'm telling you is you're already off the rails.
How?
You've already lost.
Well, the tactics
don't matter. The tactics don't matter. What's the point?
Okay, I'm trying to connect the two dots. Okay, so by destroying the men in the US, they are destroying our society, because our society fractures because women are not being restrained. Because
yes,
women
but
are in power.
hold
Women are
on.
voting.
Hold,
Women are
yeah,
voting
stop.
for all of
Okay,
these
we,
new.
Hold
we're gonna,
on.
we're gonna have to pull out the
The
mute button
people
here.
inside the U.S., the powers that be inside the U.S., can best control inside the U.S. and do their social engineering by keeping people inside the U.S. fractured. Now, the best people, I just listened to something about this. Two guys I occasionally listen to, and I actually like both of them. Brett Weinstein and Tucker Carlson. Okay, you got the conservative Episcopalian guy who has a certain reputation, and you got Brett Weinstein, the Jewish liberal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the last 2 weeks, Tucker went on Brett Weinstein's podcast, Dark Horse podcast, and Brett Weinstein went on Tucker's podcast.
Okay.
So, Brett Weinstein, Jewish, secular Jewish, kind of atheist, but open to it, liberal.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about the Israel thing and anti-Semitism. And Brett talks about these things in ways that are very open-minded. So how is he labeled? Oh, he's attacked by his group. And the conclusion he's come to is, yeah, I get attacked by my friends. Yep. And I lose a bunch of friends. But then I find a whole new group of people who actually listen to what I'm saying. And I find better friends. Like Tucker and Brett are good friends now. They're on opposite sides of the political spectrum. But, they each respect each other and care about each other. And Brett was talking about how now Tucker has been labeled as often as a bigot and an anti-Semite. And, here are these two guys talking and accepting each other and realizing, man, they've paid a high price and they've been criticized and they've been demonized. But yet they survive and they find better friends. Well, here's the lesson for Elena. Yep, you put something out there. You are attacked for it, and you've lost followers and friends. Just stay the course, stand your ground, talk rationally about things, and you will gain new people that are better than the ones that abandoned you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not worried about that. Yeah. It's just like by destroying the man, they are destroying the family. They are destroying. It's very easy. It's very easy to fracture society.
You're confusing tactics with strategy.
Okay.
This is why I said how they're specifically doing it is interesting for a tactical discussion of how to counter it. But that's the end of the interesting thing. Why are they doing it? If you can't succinctly define the why, you'll never get a good counter. You'll never figure out how to defeat them.
You have to understand their motivations, what's driving them.
Well,
is this a good thing? Elena?
What is what
that they're attacking the man? Is it a good thing?
No, it's not.
I disagree. I think it's a very good thing.
Yes.
Oh, you mean attacking a man?
Yeah.
Yes. How do men learn? Okay. How do men get stronger?
By being attacked?
By weight training. No pain, no gain. Okay.
You get stronger by suffering.
From suffering by doing the work. And if I'm never attacked, if I live an easy, contented life, I won't develop any strength because I don't need any strength. This is just a major societal shit test of the men.
It is a shit test, yeah. For men.
So, okay, men eventually learn how to
resist,
handle the shit tests. Okay, this is a good thing. It's training for the men.
Yeah.
Right. big picture, I don't see this as a bad thing for the men. There is a lot of risk in the meantime to society as the men grow to figure it out, because that's a long process. But we do things like, hey, we've spent a week now analyzing this attack pattern, and we've come up with some pretty interesting things as a result of it, right? Okay. So if all of this stuff out here is happening, and you're a smart, dominant, masculine man, and you can sit there and you can go, oh, okay, but this is just a thing that, and you just classify it. And by the way, this is how men deal with women. Okay, let's talk pickup. Okay, initially when you start pickup, you're terrified of women. That's why you're learning pickup, right? And what do they tell you to do? Fake it until you make it. These guys are terrified, but they go up, they ask, they use the cheesiest line, right? They're not very good at it at all.
They're learning. They're learning.
They're learning. And then eventually they start to see patterns, and they start to integrate what they've learned, and they start to go, oh, well, it's not so much, because early on you focus on the details of what you said. What words did you use in your pickup? What pickup line did you use? What words did you use? Did you get your tone right? And then as you get more experienced in it, you start to realize that it's not the words that matter, it's the patterns that you're following that matter, right? Are you making her feel a certain way? Which words work better, or which verbal constructions, like which types of humor do you work best with, right?
But those are details, though.
No. There is a certain style of humor that I work really well with. Okay. And so if I try to piece together the humor of others, it comes off as hackneyed and awkward, and women will look at you and they'll go, ew, ick. Right. Okay. So as you grow, you start to in this stuff, it just starts to flow. It is no longer about the details of the words. It is more how you are projecting yourself out there in an integrated way to these women. And that's probably not the best way to describe it, but
just brings internal strength to a man. These skills are not evil skills. A dominant man in his marriage can use these same skills to maintain his marriage, to make things work. These are just masculine skills. Oh, sure, anything can be used for evil purposes, but just because you have these skills does not mean you're using them for evil purposes. And Christians specifically get this wrong. They attack the red pill because, the red pill guys are just advocating all this pickup stuff. And they're just trying to manipulate women. No, they're trying to understand the world. And these skills and ideas are not morally evil or wrong. They can be used. They're not contrary to Christianity at all. Sure, people can do evil things, sinful things. Doesn't mean understanding male nature and female nature negates what's in the Bible.
Well, Steve, feminists infiltrated church. Christians bought into the feminist narrative that all men are evil.
Again, you're focusing on the details. Yes, they did. Okay. But why? Because there were lots of weak men that these tactics would work on. The purpose of the purpose of all of this is to keep the country, to keep the men and the women separate.
Yeah.
Why? Because if they're not, then they're okay. How hard would it be, Elena? We've had this conversation before. How would you react to okay, I'll build you a little bit of a picture here. How would you react to we are talking just this gorgeous guy, right? And he comes up to you. He's ripped. He's 6'2", right?
Mm-hmm.
and and he's smooth talking and he just knows what to say, but you're married. How would you react to that?
I'm married.
Oh, oh, so Mr. Looksmaxer, Mr. He's spitting bars, he's got the game down pat, and he's got, good
for him. Good for him.
Now, why do you react that way?
Well, that I'm not interested in this guy.
Yeah. Why do you react that way? I'm not that guy. I've described myself as a, middle-aged balding dude who sits at a computer too much, right? I am not that guy. Why do you react that way?
Because I'm satisfied with my husband and I'm married. What?
Because you're disciplined.
Well, I am disciplined too.
You are under the discipline of somebody, me, who has the ability and willingness to discipline you.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
So Plutarch, how would you react? This HB10 walks up to you in the bar, and you're away from home, and she says, "Hey, let's go upstairs and have some real fun. No one needs to know."
Oh, wasn't a 10, but this has happened to me a couple of times. And here's the thing. I flirt with them a little bit. Elena's seen me do this. She hates it. I flirt with them a little bit and I send them on their way.
It's kind of like, yeah, so what? Okay. Damn, yeah, oh, you're really attractive. No, I don't need to go there.
Oh, no. I'll never say anything like that.
No, you don't, but you're thinking it.
Oh, yeah.
You're thinking, oh, yeah, she's really hot. Uh-huh. And so what?
Right.
I have the self-discipline, and I have the commitment, and I have the duty, and I'm actually happy with my wife or husband.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really tempted.
Okay.
It's really, discipline. You're kind of indifferent to other people when you're in that good mental space.
Okay. So Steve and Elena, why is that such a problem for the propaganda accounts? Because neither of us can be manipulated.
Yeah.
That is why they want us fractured. That right there. The fact that Elena will not just immediately follow the latest tingle means that she's not manipulatable. Okay. The fact that I won't immediately follow the first pair of tits and ass I see means that I'm not manipulatable.
Well, they manipulate through sex. This is
no.
Yeah,
well, they're gonna try. Everybody tries to manipulate through sex.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Steve is talking about, sweetie. That's it. Look
at the advertising. It's based on sex, basically.
No.
A lot
There's
of
a defense of, or an explanation of red pill. There are red pill guys out there who say women absolutely cannot step out. But, if the man does it, that's okay. They kind of promote that. I'm saying bullshit.
Polygyny?
I don't agree with that. I'm in the red pill. No, both men and women need the self-discipline.
Yeah.
Men are actually, in some ways, held to a higher standard because they're accountable directly to God. Woman's accountable to the man. Yes, but if the man doesn't hold up his accountability to God, he's just LARPing in his marriage. And that's not a good man. So, no, I hold men to a high moral standard.
Well,
I hold
Steve,
women to a high moral standard.
There is a practical reason as well to hold, as a man, to hold yourself to that standard. Look at all the men who get ensnared in these relationships. And now I'm not talking necessarily even here about married men. They get a single a single man who spins plates is easily exposed. Okay. That man is manipulatable. If one of those women can get access to him. Now, I know that it was a false allegation against Myron by that crazy Asian chick. But the fact of the matter is, because of how Myron chooses to live his life,
What, was that against Myron or
Myron Gaines?
No, I thought it was against
Fresh.
Oh, sorry, it was against Fresh.
Walter,
Yeah,
Fresh.
Sorry, guys,
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
against Fresh. Right, because of how they choose to live their lives, they are exposed to that risk. Okay, of a woman coming in and doing that. Okay, what we're talking about here is, yeah, somebody can put a hot piece of ass in front of me, and I'll look. I might even flirt with it a little bit, but that's as far as it's going to go. I'm not going to get myself sexually entangled with them. And that gives me a strength that no other man is ever going to have. Okay. Because I can't be manipulated by foreign powers, by domestic powers, right? It doesn't work. Because they'll try it. It's called honeypotting. They try to honeypot you, and you just go, nah, I won't do that. Okay. And then what do they have? They got nothing. And so it is the ultimate power to be able to, and we talk about this in the Red Pill. It is the ultimate power to be able to tell a woman no.
Yeah.
Okay. It is. And we know that, but we don't really talk about how being able to tell a woman no prevents you from being exposed, prevents you from being compromised.
Mhm.
Now, Walter and Myron, they were able to turn Walter's issue around and do a flip the script thing, but they had to fight a while, right? They had to put a lot of energy into that could have been put elsewhere. And money, right? There was a cost associated with doing that. Actually, tactics, that's a good way to say it. Here, I'll put this up. The baited hook fails to catch a satisfied fish, right? If the fish ain't looking for food, he's not gonna attack the baited hook.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, speaking broadly, the reason why the propagandists of the world don't want men and women coming together is because when they come together, like Elena and I did, none of their attacks work. None of their manipulations work. And that makes us the biggest threat to their existence in the world. None of the powers and principalities can stand up to somebody who can just look at every manipulation they have and go,
no,
fascinating.
Yeah.
Next. Right. That is the strength that we are going to need to cultivate to get through the next 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So is it time for closing comments yet?
It is.
Yeah. Interesting discussion today. Actually, I wanted to take to a slightly different direction, but I'm glad we went.
I discovered something today.
What is it?
Well, Elena's tired.
Mm-hmm.
This stream is actually the answer. What Plutarch should have done last night is spank her and send her to bed. Then she wouldn't have been tired today. And it just perfectly matches this women need spanking.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes when they misbehave, they are begging for it. Like the more
What do you say?
rebel,
Okay, Steve, last night is a bit more complicated than just spanking, unfortunately. Because of everything that happened this week, somebody horrifically mismanaged her time all week long. I mismanaged
my time the whole week long, yeah. And it wasn't just... I had to do some things yesterday.
In order to do this stream, she had to stay up late dealing with details. prepping
Yeah.
for the stream,
Okay.
doing prep work for the stream. So I couldn't do it because what she was doing was something that she actually needed to be doing. I have been grousing at her all week for her horrible time management all week. And now that the stream is done, I'm going to go kick some ass.
Okay. I mean, we're just handling this in a
Looking forward
humorous
to
way.
it.
And there is a whole bunch of humor in this. It's nothing scary. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
dynamics
ladies,
within a couple.
little
It
bit
all
of-
works.
A little bit of spanking is not going to hurt you. It's not going to damage you. See, I'm still alive. If anything, you actually might have more respect for your man that he is able to do that. Come on.
Tacticus gets it.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's good and healthy for women, and the women with humility and some accountability, and if they were disciplined and restrained by their fathers before, they will accept it. You know.
My closing thought is this: the only way. Look, we're not going to save the world anymore. It's too late for that.
Too late, yeah.
The only way through the coming pain is to start to discipline our women again.
Yeah.
And if that means spanking them, then spank them.
Necessary force, whatever is necessary, guys. And some women, okay, some of those women who are really misbehaving, they will need more of that restraint. They will need more of that discipline and spanking. Not all women will, and look, it depends like on how broken she is, but the more broken she is, the more of that restraint she will need. But then a lot of men, they realize that right now, because they are lacking natural authority, it's not legal to execute for men. It's not legal to execute upon their natural authority to restrain their women, to apply the necessary force to restrain their women. A lot of men will just say, "No, we are not dealing with women. We don't want to deal with women." I totally understand why, because anything you do, gentlemen, can be used against you in the divorce court. So
Yep,
see, ladies, if there are a few women who are watching, why good men refrain from having marriage, from dating, from dealing with women today, that's why. It's all of the risks associated with men executing upon their natural authority given to them by God, by the way.
So, truth is, it's an unfortunate truth. There are less consequences to spanking a woman before you're married to her than after you're married to her.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's very, very risky for men. And the people who are playing on your fears, on your emotions, even on your possible prior trauma or experience, they are agitating. They are they basically want you to be miserable and unhappy in your marriage.
No, that's not their goal. That's
Well,
an approximate outcome, but it's not their goal. Their goal is to destroy your marriage so that they can manipulate both individuals easier.
Yeah. Well, and then by destroying the man, they destroy the marriage, they destroy the stability, they destroy the family. By convincing
approximate
women,
outcomes, not the goal.
Well, yeah, okay. The outcomes, they want to set you against your man. But then if you don't want to be disciplined or restrained by this man, then why bother marrying him? Because you will have zero respect for him. You don't actually want a man in that case. You just want a slave. You want a slave, all of this egalitarian partnership. He's your teammate, or whatever it is, how Steve calls it, he's your junior partner. All of this is just an excuse for women to preside in that relationship, to be in charge, so that she has zero respect for her man, and then eventually she divorce grapes him.
Anything else to say? Because Elena will go on about this forever if we let her use all her words.
Yeah, I will probably write an article about it, summarizing
more
some
words.
of the concepts. No, I'll try to summarize what we've talked about.
She always says that.
Yeah. No, recent articles on my Substack were pretty short, guys. Actually, I managed to keep them somewhat short. Yeah. No, ladies, discipline and restraint are good and healthy for you. They are good and healthy for your children. Everything else is bullshit.
Life actually gets easier for a woman when she's disciplined and boundaries are imposed on her. It gets easier for her. She is more likely to be content and less rebellious. There's going to be less fighting in your marriage. It just works. And if you do that and then you stop doing that, it might stop working. I mean, you might end up having marital problems then. I can attest to that. Well, let's close it out.
Yeah, darling, do you have any final thoughts?
Nope. Just remember that this is not about the individual proximate outcomes. This is about keeping you fractured and weak. That's it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Great conversation today. I really enjoyed it. Tell us what you think, guys, in the comments. We appreciate your feedback. Remember to please like, share, and subscribe, and join the Resurgence of Sanity on Wednesday. Steve, you're going to talk about the IPA Guild, right? Next Wednesday.
Title is going to be Her Mask Hides Abortion, Infidelity, Promiscuity, Guilt.
Yes.
That's too long for YouTube. You're going to have to work on that, Steve.
I know, I will. But I mean, that's the
idea. Awesome. Yeah, join us on the Resurgence. They have very interesting live streams for you guys. And I'll see you all next time. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Guys, thank you so much for being here with us today. If you're new here or if you're a returning subscriber, we appreciate you. Have you watched Anita Mokiat's saga by me, your Red Pill Babushka? If you haven't yet, we highly recommend you to watch this mini-series to better understand women, how they think, and how they manipulate men. Anita Mokiat's saga is a comic parody of female nature and female behavior that includes Anita's adventures, her special and unique experiences, and various interactions with other funny characters. I created Anita to pick on female delusions, entitlement, and promiscuity, and to show the reality of corrupted by women institutions. The first season shows the process of finding herself through self-worth, self-love, and self-respect meditation retreats and relationship sessions with various female gurus. The second season reveals her godly path to Jesus and her true power over men, femininity.
Hi, I'm Anita Mokiat. I used to be on OnlyFans, but not anymore. Not after I found Jesus. I'm a trad wife now. I love Jesus. I'm not a feminist. I want a perfect husband with kids because now I feel that it's my true purpose in life to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. Because I deserve a family. I want to be married to the right man. So join our church and wife me up.
I will actually plug Plutarch's wife here. Watch her Anita Moorcat series on just talking about she gives these like acting. She takes on many faces and shows the reality of the church and trying to get men to buy into this traditional tradcon bullshit on wifing up all these fucked up women. There is a large amount of truth in her comedic series that I think men should watch.
I hope that you enjoy our videos. Please tell us what you think about them. We appreciate your feedback. Also, please like the videos. It helps us to build more awareness. And share our videos with your friends and those who need to see them. You never know, but you may save a man's life if he is more aware of female nature. You don't have to say anything when you are sharing our videos. You can just copy and paste them and let the chips fall where they may. Please watch our older live streams on both YouTube channels. You might also enjoy Marry Me Red Pill podcast by your Red Pill Babushka, based on the survey for biological men. It's an ongoing survey that you can participate in. Please share it with other men. The more men participate in this survey, the more statistically significant the results are. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels if you enjoy our content and if you'd like to see more content like this. Join us for interesting discussions with the Resurgence of Sanity guys on Saturdays at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on sBarre YouTube channel and on Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific on the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for interesting discussions. Thank you for your feedback and for your kind support. We appreciate you guys. We are looking forward to seeing you in our other activities as well. Take care everyone and have a wonderful day.